Hello and welcome to episodes 21 to 26 of this Love Island recap. So remember we ended things with Andrew choosing Tasha and everyone was a bit scandalized because Tasha seemed to have her eye on Charlie for a minute. Well, yeah. Tasha wakes up a little distant, upset at everyone's reaction to Andrew choosing her last night. Andrew tries to cuddle her and ask her about her dreams, but she's not very interested for now. Charlie asks Davide and Jay about Ekin-Su, and Jay says, yeah, she's a nice girl, it just wasn't the right personality match. Davide says he feels bad about not choosing Danica because he did kiss her after all, but he feels that he's a better match with Antigone. Dami asks Andrew about how things went with Tasha. He says that there were no cuddles and he's just going to give her some space today. Dami says that if someone else comes into the house, Andrew shouldn't close himself off. He should maybe give it a chance. Jay basically says that he's still going to try to get to know Paige. He feels that the door closed because he was with Ekin-Su. I mean, good luck to him, but this is a fool's errand. Charlie brings Ekin-Su her pre-workout coffee. At one point, Andrew goes to check in on Tasha. Andrew, I thought you were going to give her space today. Predictably, she wants to be alone. Andrew needs to get it together. Tasha pulls Luca and Dami aside for a chat, and she says again that it really upset her that they were shaking their heads. Luca apologizes for that, and Tasha says that she feels as though people think that she doesn't care about Andrew and nobody in the house has her back. Dami says that they all know that she cares about Andrew, but sometimes it just feels like it's not as much. Like it's a little bit unmatched between the two of them. She says that everyone is going on about Andrew when she has feelings too. It's not just about Andrew. Now, I don't want to pile on Tasha, but come on now, Tasha. She calls Andrew for a chat and she says that she feels maybe they're not on the same page. Tasha said that they agreed that if there were new people in the house, they'd want to talk to the new people, but Andrew hasn't wanted to talk to anybody that's come in. I feel like ultimately he's happy with her and she's still looking. She doesn't seem ready, fair enough, but she could just also say that. Anyway, Jay and Paige go for a chat. There's something about Jay I'm not sure about. Not always, but sometimes there's just something about him that rubs me the wrong way a bit. He's always pretty decent in these talks though. He asks Paige about her mom, and even Paige says that he's interested and asks questions. He wants to get to know her. I can't really tell with Paige. She's not giving mixed signals. She's just being nice, but I wonder if Jay actually even stands a chance. I mean, I don't think so. She does say later in the episode that even though she's open to conversations, she doesn't want to let this Jay thing drag on too long. She says that she has a lot of fun with Jax, but Jay is a little bit more mature. Ooh, who will it be? The fun hot jock or the serious smart business guy? Charlie and Tasha chat and he says that he wants to get to know her, but he doesn't want to push since she's in a situation with Andrew. He says as well that they should just kind of keep things between themselves. She needs time to think. India gets a text then. She and Dami are going to go on their first date. India is so adorable. All of the girls help her get ready and they see her off. This is honestly always the most wholesome part of the show. Jax tells Paige that her getting to know Jay will probably make them stronger. Paige looks so pleased. Yeah, Jay doesn't stand a chance. Jay can see them making out and he says that it makes him feel like a bit of a tool. Good for Jay for putting himself out there, I guess, but yeah, this was always going to be a long shot. India and Dami go on their dates. It's very cute. They have the same energy, so it's nice not to have her always try hard to know what he's thinking or know what he's feeling. He's just very communicative. They both make each other laugh. They talk about the future. She says that she's genuinely happy and he loves that it's so easy with them. He also tells her that she's beautiful. She is. Ekin-Su and Davide have a chat and there is a vibe. It's not flirty as such. Davide seems to get a bit of a thrill out of still putting Ekin-Su in her place a bit, like, yeah, I dumped you, so don't think that we're getting back together, Ekin-Su. Ekin-Su is all coy, like, what, we're just friends. I don't know, is this kind of hot? I think their barely feigned irritation with each other is kind of hot. The girls ask Ekin if she likes Charlie and she says that he's a good guy and he's trying. That's not an answer, Ekin-Su, but that was very charitable. This is not going to work. I don't think she's into Charlie. Tasha tells Andrew that what they have feels too good to be true, and this is what she does when this happens. She tends to sabotage things. Paige and Jax go off to talk and he tells Paige that it really upset him seeing her chat in bed with Jay, and oh, these two are properly falling in love, I think. He's panicked and Love Island is playing the saddest romantic music while this chat is going on. It's so over the top and I love it. Paige is going to have to end things with Jay tomorrow though, I guess. In episode 22, Luca tells Jax that he's falling for Gemma big time. Jay tells the guys that he feels like he's getting mixed signals from Paige. Danica's all, please just send someone in who loves me. And it's cute in a good-natured, joking way, but seriously, producers, we need a man for Danica because she's adorable. I don't want her to go home. Ekin tells Dami that Charlie is nice to her and she feels she should try to get to know him. She also mentions that there's a weird chemistry between her and Davide, but she also feels like it's too late now. Dami says that it won't last with Charlie. Paige and Jay chat and he says that he doesn't want to be that guy. He doesn't feel like he can be too flirty with her because they aren't dating and she has that thing with Jax. Paige says that the door is still open and I'm very surprised by this. I mean, they chat about the kiss that they had and she admits that she would like him to kiss her again, but just no tongue because it was a little intense last time. Paige, what are you doing? Shut this down. A group of them then have an interesting but very unserious chat where Dami tries to read all the women's minds and kind of find out where their heads are at. Like he's just guessing. And about Gemma, he says that she knows that Luca is a bit more serious about her than she is him. That if someone who is even more Gemma's type would come into the house, her head would be turned. She tells him that he's not completely wrong. They agree to keep this all between them, but just to be sure, the vibe is really laid back and they're all kind of joking, so I didn't take it seriously. But Ekin-Su then goes and mentions this to Jax and Paige. Come on, Ekin-Su. This is serious pot stirring. Now Jax feels like he might have a duty to tell Luca. This is what I call dumb drama. Jax then tells Luca. Gemma goes over to Ekin-Su to talk to her and she says, well, you need to keep your nose out of my business and out of my relationship. You've made drama over nothing. And she tells Ekin-Su that she knew that this would cause drama. Ekin-Su doesn't think she did anything wrong. She's playing dumb, but she knows what she did. I did let it slide though because all these people do is tan all day long. So some drama, even dumb drama, is still mildly entertaining. Random, by the way, but everyone is in bikinis and swimwear and Andrew's in a black hoodie. I'm uncomfortably hot just looking at this because I think they're in Spain in the summer. Gemma tells Luca that the whole thing was blown out of proportion. Luca said that he wouldn't have agreed with Dami if he suggested that his head would turn for someone else other than Gemma. They call Ekin-Su over and she explains what she said and Luca says, oh, this is just a stupid conversation, which it is. Jax is mad because Paige is spending time with Jay. He goes over to India and Dami and he says he feels like he shouldn't have opened up to her, but Dami and India are like, calm down, Jax. They end up having kind of a laugh. Paige mentions in her testimonial that she knows that Jax wants an answer and she's leaning towards Jax anyway, but she just doesn't want to hurt anyone. Antigone gets a text then. They're having a blue party tonight. They all have to dress up in blue clothes. Luca says that he needs to find out if Gemma feels the same way about him as he does about her. He's a little panicked about the idea that he's more into her. And I mean, I feel like he knew that. I mean, you can tell when you're the one who's more into someone. Anyway, he chats with her and tells her that he wants a future with her. He says that he doesn't care who walks in that door. He's into her. He's not choosing anyone else. Gemma isn't willing to say the same. I mean, I don't blame her. Paige goes to chat with Jay and she tells him it's done and she's into Jax basically. He tells her that he had a feeling. He appreciates her being honest with him though. Tasha tells Charlie that she's happy with Andrew. I mean, I get that she's probably not into Charlie, but is she happy with Andrew? She tells Andrew that he gives her more than enough and she wants to focus on him. Andrew's thrilled and he says that he can see a future with her. I want to be happy for them, but she makes me nervous. I mean, good luck you two. In episode 23, Paige has a weight lifted off her shoulders because she's ended this thing with Jay now. She's happy. Jay's being a good sport about it. He says that he went for it. It didn't work. Oh well. I feel bad for Danica. She says that it sucks not having anyone to talk to at night. Jax tells Luca that he would rather be with Paige than with Gemma. She's more relaxed and it wouldn't work with Gemma anyway because he couldn't really be himself with her. Luca says that he appreciates the heads up, but it won't change the way he feels about Gemma. He does chat to her about it and she says she doesn't want to date a party boy. She has no issues with her boyfriend going out with his mates every now and then, but towards the end of her relationship with Jax, she couldn't trust him. Also, there's a kind of uncomfortable moment where Luca tries to cuddle her while she's talking and she just pushes him away and tells him to listen to her while she's talking, which, I mean, fair enough, but the way she pushes him away and snaps a bit, it's a little bit jarring, but yeah, I'm a bit sensitive to harsh tones. Luca tries to pivot to something romantic. He asks what she's most looking forward to on the outside world, but Gemma says no. She's just still annoyed with Jax. Gemma and Jax talk and she's pretty mad at him. Gemma wants him to keep his nose out of her business because she hasn't said a single word to Paige about him. Ekin-Su gives Danica a pep talk. I love this. She later also admits that she misses Davide. Okay, Ekin-Su. Then Danica goes to talk to Andrew. She says that she fancies him and she enjoys chatting to him. He says that things are going well with Tasha, but he likes chatting with Danica as well. So tonight's challenge game is going to be very cringy but fun, I think, because the girls will be twerking and the boys will somehow be competing against them. Anyway, Danica comes out first and she's phenomenal. She's also a professional dancer though, like she studied it at uni. Ekin-Su comes out in a hot wedding dress outfit and she properly makes out with Davide. She's looking smoking and this revenge bride look is so on brand for her. India has a really good sexy Marie Antoinette look and she has her hair down, which we rarely see. Tasha comes out wearing a Barbie outfit. Antigone looked really cute. Well, I mean, I guess it's supposed to be sexy in a Red Riding Hood costume. Paige comes out in a Baywatch outfit and she's pretty good. I couldn't stand that wig though. So anyway, all these dances were very hot, very fun, kind of scandalous. Now it's time for the guys. Dammy comes out in his lab coat, which he strips out of. He's a scientist in real life, remember, which is already really hot. I didn't watch any of the guys' dances all the way through because it was too cringy, but I mean, I have to report on this mess. So I can say that Charlie was fighting for his life out there as a butler. Paige was so embarrassed for him. She was like, oh, bless him. Because he was so awkward. Luca wasn't great as a rink master. Jay is a little too muscular. Andrew was pretty tame and boring as a gladiator. Jax was a cop. I mean, I don't like cop costumes. Davide is just... As I said once, he coasts on his looks and his accent, and for a while the spiciness when Ekin-Su dumped him, but he doesn't really have much sex appeal. Like, he's just a hot guy when he's not trying to be. Then we really get a fun part of the game where the guys have to say who of the girls raised their heart rate the most. Luca is boring, so he chooses Gemma. Dammy chooses Paige. Jay chooses Gemma. Davide chooses Ekin-Su. I mean, I knew it. Their annoyance with each other was kind of getting them hot and bothered, so obviously. The one that surprised me the most was Charlie choosing India. Now, India was actually one of my favorites among the girls, but I just thought that Charlie would choose Tasha or Ekin-Su. Then Andrew chooses Danica. Tasha gets very salty about that. But this is the most interesting thing that Andrew has done since he arrived in the villa. More of this, please. As for the girls, Danica chooses Davide. Paige chooses Luca, boring. India chooses Andrew. And Gemma keeps things interesting by choosing Jax. Luca and Andrew chat and Luca says that he's thinking more about the fact that he likes Gemma more than she likes him. Tasha is still a little bit upset with Andrew that he didn't choose her. Andrew goes to talk to her, but she says that she's still upset. She eventually walks away from the conversation. To be fair, she and Danica are professional dancers. They're kind of both disqualified in a way anyway. I more understand Paige being upset because Jax could have chosen literally any other girl. Does it have to be his ex? They talk about it and Jax says that maybe it's because he and Gemma, slept together. So he had like kind of a flashback moment and, you know, they have that past connection. So Paige wasn't really complaining about it. She was just a little down and hurt by it. And he says to her, "You're being pathetic." I was kind of done with him at this moment because he was sulking the whole time she was talking to Jay after encouraging it. So he can get jealous for that, but she's pathetic for being upset over him picking his ex. Please. Ekin-Su and Davide talk and he says that when she kissed him, he was really surprised. Davide is like, "Be honest, you want me back?" And she says no. She admits then that she messed up in the past and she says that it's not that she wants to get back together, but she just has noticed some stuff in here. She's learned her mistakes. I'm obsessed with the storyline because it's like a mini romantic comedy. This is like an enemies to lovers trope happening before our eyes. India is a little offish and Dammy notices and asks what's up. He chose Paige, remember? I will say that if all the guys just chose the woman they were paired up with, it would have just been boring. And I was thinking maybe there should have been a rule against that, but I guess giving them the choice is part of the fun. It adds to the drama. Honestly, I need more pot stirring games like this. Andrew makes it clear to Tasha that he doesn't want Danica, he wants her. Ugh, Andrew, no. Yeah, Tasha basically shut that down fast, which is unfair because he did give her space to talk to other people. Oh well, I guess Andrew's just not into Danica like that, which is fair. In episode 24, Tasha says that in bed last night, she and Andrew went to the salon. This seems to be their code word, everyone's code word for like sexual stuff happening. She says that there were, well, mouths involved. Andrew's mouth. Davide says that Ekansu is good looking and he fancies her, but the trust is the issue. And Jack says that he should have thought a little bit more about the way he reacted with Paige being upset. I don't know. With Gemma saying that she didn't trust him, and now this, Jax's stock has plummeted. Andrew and Dami make pancakes for breakfast for India and Tasha. This is very cute. Jax apologizes to Paige and tells her that he should have thought about how she was feeling because he hasn't been this excited about someone in a long time. Andrew tells Danica that he's all for Tasha and she's cool with it. Andrew, you're so boring for this. Davide tells Antigone that he's happy with her, but I'm pretty neutral about that. Oh no, then Danica tries to talk to Jay and he says that there's too much of an age gap between them and that he has more of a rapport with Antigone. He then tells Antigone that he's attracted to her and she's open to it because it's kind of easy with them, but she says that she doesn't want to be second best, and here she's referring to the Paige thing. I don't really think they're a good match anyway. And Jay's really upfront, but I don't really prefer him as a candidate in the house for anyone really. Antigone says that she'd like to get to know Jay still. You know, he really messed up because Antigone initially really liked him a lot, but he was too busy with the Paige thing. In today's episode, the women have to pick the guys that they like. Ekansu tells a little white lie and says that she has 3 guys she likes and she doesn't know who she's going to pick. I mean, which 3 guys, Ekansu? Because you certainly don't mean Charlie, and you haven't signaled that you miss Jay at all. Although from a strategic standpoint, it might still be too risky to choose Davide, so I get it. Paige chooses Jax, obviously. Danica chooses Jay. Tasha chooses Andrew, obviously. She says that she's never felt this way about anyone before. Gemma chooses Luca, and it was really sweet to hear her be really romantic and sweet about him and talk about her feelings for him. In the best plot twist this season, or maybe we knew it anyway, Ekansu chooses Davide. This is going to be a glorious mess. So 2 of Antigone's options, Davide and Jay, are taken and she's quite upset. But yeah, she has to choose Charlie and she doesn't look too pleased. The guys are like, what happened, Jay? Are you sure that you closed the door on the Danica thing? He's like, I couldn't have been clearer. He says that he made it clear that he's not into it. So the signals got crossed really, because Danica is under the impression that the door isn't completely closed. You know, she just misunderstood, because what I got from that chat with Jay was that he wasn't interested. Dami gently says that she's maybe making herself a pillar between 2 people who could be very romantic, Antigone and Jay. Anyway, to their credit, they all talk about it and Jay makes it clear again and he explains himself that he doesn't feel that way for Danica. Also, it's not really that big a deal. He picked Paige last week even though she was more official with Jax and she didn't signal any interest. So he can't get annoyed now. He can still get to know Antigone because the pairing ups, you know, are kind of arbitrary. Ekansu somehow gets Davide to make her food and the guys are all joking about it. Davide says he doesn't know what he wants with Ekansu. He'll see. Ekansu is over there having her redemption arc, wanting to prove herself and be real and authentic, she says. Danica and Antigone have a chat and they clear the air. Antigone is not mad. Then we have a classic Davide moment because it always comes out when he's with Ekansu. He says to her that when he was standing by the fire, he was hoping that she'd pick him, but, he says, this doesn't mean anything. And he says that he's going to have to be careful with her. She's like, sure. She says that she hopes that he can trust her after some time. And she says that she's going to need to get it together, that if another guy comes in the house, she can't be like the way she was before. Like always having her head turned. By the way, I don't mean to kink shame, but the show shows Luca licking Gemma's toes for some reason. Anyway, in episode 25, Dami tells Davide, you know, it's okay if you end up liking Ekansu and getting back together. I know we all joke, but there is some truth in the jokes, Dami's saying. He points out that Davide even smiles while he's talking about Ekansu. Jay wants to get to know Antigone, so does Charlie. I don't know you guys, you're a little bit late, but okay. So the couples are all treated to a nice breakfast in the garden, and Gemma and Luca, they're kind of growing on me. Jax is still thrilled by Paige's speech last night, and he tells her that his mother would adore her. Dami with India, they talk a bit about the outside world, about London. They talk about what it would be like to meet India's mother. Oh, they're so cute. They have a really good balance between the sweet nothings and then talking about the more real stuff. Tasha says she'd like to be called a girlfriend, Andrew's girlfriend, at one point, and Andrew says he's just more into her every day. Ekansu and Davide continue their cute banter. Antigone tells Charlie that she's not really interested in a slow burn. She wants someone who looks at her and says, yes, I'm into her. And I mean, I get it. Being someone's third option, who wants that? Ekansu tells Luca that she's ready to take the risk with Davide, and he thinks that Davide needs to put his pride down for a minute. Luca talks to Davide about this and encourages him to pull Ekansu aside for a chat chat and make a move because she's really put her heart out there. Oh, Luca was really good for this. He's like, just have a chat and make her feel better. She's feeling a little down. Davide does, and Ekin-Su tells him that it's fine if he wants to take it slow. She just wants to know if he'll ever give her a chance. He says he can't say, but the fact that they're talking already says a lot. She just needs to give it time. Anyway, I don't think he's playing. He seems to be struggling with whether or not to trust her, but you can tell that he really wants to. Oh, then Jay gets a text and a couple gets to go to the hideaway for the night. The islanders all choose Luca and Gemma. The girls get ready with Gemma and everyone is waiting at the base of the stairs to see them off. As you know, this is my favorite bit. The next morning, Ekin-Su says that she was so cold last night and Davide is like, well, you could have told me. And she asks why, and he says, well, I would have warned you. Their interactions, I'm sorry, I don't even do them justice. They're very cute. Gemma is very happy with the way the night went. She surprised me because she tells the girls that Luca would wake up throughout the night and whisper things to her like, you're so beautiful. And I thought she'd be annoyed by that because getting your sleep interrupted for that would be kind of annoying. But she says that she was smiling the whole time. So they're obviously in the throes of, well, almost first love. And respectfully, I still don't think it will last. She'll be annoyed with him in the long term. Ekin-Su gets a text and she and Davide are going on a date. I was dying seeing Luca on the bed keeping Davide company with the others while he was getting ready. Davide says that he'll try to be a bit more open. Anyway, they go on a date to a vineyard. They stomp on grapes and they wash each other's feet afterwards. They talk about the future and life, and it's kind of an excellent date. Davide says that it was like meeting Ekin-Su for the first time. By the way, Tasha tells Andrew that she loves him, I think. I guess she realized what she had in Andrew. Thank goodness. They're still boring, but good for them. Gemma's dad is a famous football player, by the way, and she went to nursery school with David Beckham's sons. Goodness, she's really young. She did say she has 12 horses at home, so she's rich, and I'm surprised that she and Charlie don't have anything to talk about since they're both high society types, but Charlie's kind of only showing his boring side anyway, so what is there to say? Jay chats to Antigone and it's weird. They suddenly don't seem as into each other. She tells him that she's waiting for her guy to come in. He said he wanted to get to know her, but he didn't even really make an effort to talk to her during the day. Everyone is called to the fire pit then. The public has voted for the most compatible couple, and those with the fewest votes will be voted off the island. Only one boy and one girl are going home, and the other islanders have to decide who. The girls need to decide which boy to dump. So we have Charlie, Andrew, and Jay. It'll be Charlie, obviously. And the guys have to choose which girl to let go, and it's a choice between Danica, Tasha, and Antigone. It'll probably be Danica. In episode 26, predictably, the girls choose to dump Charlie. The boys decide to dump Antigone, which is wild. I had my money on Danica, but Dami did mention in their whispers that Danica was really putting in the effort to put herself out there. I love that they rallied for her. Luca says as well that she's willing to take risks, and this is what the game is about. Tasha is surprisingly okay with having been voted least compatible. She says that she's glad that the islanders saved her and Andrew. Ekin says that yesterday Davide cuddled her and held her hand under the covers. He brings her morning coffee. He says that they're kind of at the point where they left off. She makes him pancakes. He later says that he will try not to hold on too much to the past. They're both actually pretty attentive throughout the day. They go for a dip in the pool and they're more comfortable being physically affectionate with each other than they were before. Tasha says that she downplayed her disappointment last night, that she actually really feels bad on the inside because she just doesn't understand how she could have been voted bottom 3. It's a knock on her confidence, especially when she and Andrew have been so happy the last few days. The girls get a text then. They're going to have a girls' night out. They all end up at another villa, Casa Amor, which means the relationships are going to be tested because there are going to be 6 new boys in that villa. The guys are all sitting around wondering where the girls are and what they're doing. Then we meet the guys. Josh, Deji, Jack, Billy, George, and Samuel. I mean, I'm sure they're very nice guys, but respectfully, there isn't a single sexy guy among this lot, so I think the original guys are all safe. I will say that most of them just look too young. Anyway, the new girls are on their way to the villa to see the original boys, and yeah, we'll see how that goes down on Sunday. This felt like a really short episode, but there you have it. Feel free to share your thoughts, and thank you for watching.